Indianapolis, Indiana, and today is the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show at noon. But right now, we're actually going over the Going Executive Director Show. The reason we put this together is basically to give you some insights, some tips, some skills that will help you build your Legal Shield business if you're in it. As always, I recommend you getting with your upline and asking them, what's best and making that decision on your own. We're not here to change what you're doing, just giving you some skills to use along with what you're doing. Benny's with us. What's happening, sir? Ed, what is going on? How are you? Hope things are going well in the real estate business on this rainy Thursday here in Indianapolis. Debbie's jumping on. We're actually headed over to do a credit workshop. Does that sound familiar? Blast from the past for some of you who know what that means. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to Brandy. We're talking about, we've been talking about form and using form and meeting people online. And I know Brandy's been able to meet people on Instagram. She's been able to meet people off of Facebook. And just the process of, getting to know someone before you actually get them on the phone. So I'm going to turn this over to her so that way we can drive over to our spot. You might want to move your seat back. And I'm going to turn this over to her.
Here we go. Move back a little bit. There we go. How we all doing? Good morning. So with form, for those of you who don't know what form is, F stands for friendly. A lot of people like to use family, but if you're talking to somebody you don't know, it's a little awkward to be asking somebody about their family right away. Like, hey, are you married? Like, yes. So I like to use friendly instead, which is more, hi, how are you? How are you doing today? I usually use this when I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram because those are my top 3 that I like to use. So F for friendly, O for occupation, what do you do for work? How long have you been doing that? And if they haven't been doing something long, I like to go, sorry, somebody was just trying to call us, and ask them, well, what did you do beforehand? A lot of times people have been in the military and now, and I'm like, oh, cool, what made you decide to go into that? Like going back further, not just knowing what they do now, but knowing what they did, especially if they didn't do it for very long, because that's valuable information. You want to know that. And then, of course, R is for recreation. What do they like to do for fun? What do they like to do when they're not working? Do they like to spend time with their kids or spend time with their spouse or go out with friends? And then the message. By the time I get there, I'm like, hey, I'd really like to share with you something. Can I show you what I'm doing? So just in case if you run into the right person, you can refer me. There we go. I was a little bright there for a second. And usually I get the message back. They're like, oh, well, what is it? And I'm like, well, I really can't go over all this over message. It'll be way too long. Is there any chance that we can get together, set up a time to talk on the phone? And that way you can give me more details on what you're doing and I can give you the details on what I'm doing. That way we can refer each other business. And in most cases, I get a, yeah, sure thing. Here's my phone number. And I set up a time with them to talk. So that's how I run through form. Now, how am I getting in front of these people? I'm going to use LinkedIn as an example because I like LinkedIn because it is a business website. Instagram's a lot harder and people are being bombarded by messages every day. Now, I've been able to recruit off of Instagram and it is possible, but you got to go through much more people. And for what we're doing, I think LinkedIn is a better tool to be using. If you're in a beauty company, I think Instagram is great. But for what we're doing, I want to work with more business professionals. So I prefer LinkedIn. So how am I getting in front of those people? I'm actually going and connecting with everybody in the area who's in real estate, insurance, and what's the other one?
Financial services.
Financial services, that's the one. I couldn't think of it at the top of my head for some reason. Hi Tiffany, how's it going? So I'm connecting with those types of people, and I got a very wide net of connections on my LinkedIn, so I go connect with all those people, and once they mutually connect with me, I send them a message. I'm like, hey, thanks for connecting. How are you today? And since you're using form, everybody is more likely to have a conversation with you. I've actually had a couple messages where they're like, wow, you've actually talked to me on here. Most people just send me a link. Don't ever send a link. I'm like, if I can't show them all the information, I give them no information. I never send a link, no flyers. I have to present to them or they get no information. That's just how it is. Because otherwise people are like, oh, well, if you just send me a link, I'll look at it. And I'm like, no, you won't. And I'll actually call them out on it. I'm like, I'm going to send you, if I send you a link, you need to look at it by this time. Would you be able to do that? They're like, oh yeah, totally. And then they never look at it. And I'm like, that's how this conversation's going to go. So, and then I'm going to try to hunt you down and see if you watched the video. You haven't watched the video yet. And I'm like, I know how this goes. I'm like, and I tell them, I'm like, look, just for sake of your time and mine, the video is 20 minutes long. I can show this to you or in 10 or 15 minutes. What would you rather do? And they're like, oh, well, I'd rather you explain it to me then. And I'm like, okay, great. Then I will set up a call.
Where's your phone?
Oh, here we go. Sorry. Here you go. He needs my phone. So that is what I have for form and how I'm getting in front of people. So it's really just going and connecting with everybody, having that conversation and getting the phone number. And after I have that conversation, I'm like, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, just because I need to ask this, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1, you can refer me somebody right now, or 10, you have an interest in this yourself, where are you at? And based on their answer, if they say they're a 1 and that they can refer me somebody, I'm like, great, do you have anybody that you know right now that you can refer me? And then we get that information. Hey Bradley, how's it going? Ooh, I'm not gonna try to press that, otherwise I'm gonna press different buttons. Little shaky in here. Now, if they are an 8 or a 9, I'm like, great, what interests you the most? Was it the money part or the products? They're like, oh, well, I like the products. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send you this is where the video comes in handy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send you the video, which is gonna go over more in detail about how all this works. And then after you watch the video, we can set up a face-to-face or another phone call with somebody else, and we can answer any questions that you have and get you started. So it's a pretty easy process, but you need to go through these processes to, 1, find somebody who's really serious about what they want to do with you, and that way they get the right information at the right time and it's not coming across as pushy, because a lot of people do just throw their kind of barf information on everybody without really seeing if they're interested to begin with. Do you have anything else to add?
I was just looking at the time.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so where we're at location, Jeanette's here. Hello, hello. How are you? Who else we got here? Tom's here. What's happening? We're already over here at our event for the luncheon. Sorry, still at the dentist. No problem, Max. So we talked a little bit about form and getting a hold of people on social media. You know, what we're using that works the best is still the favor script with the people we know. That's the fastest way to get a hold of people that I've ever seen. And then getting them on the phone and actually explaining to them exactly what we do. There's so much, you know, if you're adding steps, and I see a lot of people adding steps inside of their business, meaning they're calling somebody, like this seems insane to me. Call somebody to get them on a 3-way call to get them to invite to go see a presentation. I'm like, if you can get them on the damn phone, why aren't you presenting to them right there to find out if they're interested to actually come out to the event? Let them know what it is before they ever come out. Like, I've always made the decision, Brad, what's going on? I've always made the decision that I want them to see what it is and what we do. So listen to this, 90% of everything we're doing right now to recruit the people we're recruiting, we're doing over the phone. Like, if the person already knows you, I want to tell you what this is, exactly what it is, because if I tell you exactly what it is over the phone, then you can refer me. If I tell you exactly what it is over the phone and you have an interest and you can ask questions about buying whatever product it is that we offer, if I'm able to present to you and you know exactly what it is and a general idea of how it works, you kind of understand the comp plan, not really the comp plan, but there is compensation. And you know, that's where people have detailed questions like, how does the comp plan work? Well, I could send you a video and or a written description of how the comp plan works, and you can read it. And people are like, okay, that makes sense. That's easy enough. Now it's not so much about hype. It's not so much about, getting people face to face and trying to hard close. It's literally educating people on what we do and how we do it, and then asking the appropriate questions in the right order. And it was funny because I was actually presenting to a guy yesterday, and he goes, I've been in a company for years. I was in a company for years. I really didn't make any money with it. But one of the problems that I ran into is we were selling hype. He goes, how are you selling hype with Legal Shield? I'm like, we're not. I'm like, there is no hype to sell. It's here's what we do and here's how we do it. I said, the only thing that I'm super, super excited about is people can actually use this product. I said, inside of the particular company that he was working with, I'm like, the sale on the front end is you can use it for this and you can use it for that. I said, did you ever use it for any of those reasons? This particular company that this guy was in, I said, did you ever use it for any of those reasons? He's like, no, not really. He goes, in fact, they always promoted that and it's all over their page. He goes, but when I went to actually use the program that they were offering, he goes, it sucked. It was terrible. Like the stuff didn't work, or it really wasn't a deal. Or you got like 13 points instead of, actually getting a discount because they were like a discount shopping thing. And I was like, okay, that's not good. He's like, yeah, the product. I said, so basically you and I both know that the product was garbage. He's like, yeah. I said, now, is there anybody in that company making, this is important. I said, is there anybody in that company making $50,000, $100,000, $250,000, or $500,000 just selling the product without a team? He goes, oh yeah, lots of people sell the product or say they sell the product. I said, no. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying, is there people selling the product? I know the product has to move to make money. I said, but is anybody making $50,000, $100,000, $250,000, or $500,000 just selling the product? They have no team at all. He's like, no, that's almost impossible in network marketing. I said, well, that's another reason I liked and looked at Legal Shield is I had people on my team that were making $300 a month, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month. I had a couple smart Alecks that were even making more than that doing credit repair. They were making over $2,000 a month just selling the product. They had no team at all. KJ, what's happening? So that's why I liked this particular company specifically is I saw people who were able to sell the product and make what I would consider better money than the average network marketer makes building a team. We got into a conversation about making $1,000. I said, to make $1,000 in most network marketing companies, you need to do what? He's like, oh, you need a lot of people. I said, well, how many is a lot? I'm like, 50 to 100. He's like, yeah, in most companies that I've seen. Now, there's a couple companies out there that you could get to $1,000 by selling $2,000, $3,000 packages. And I know this because I've been in those companies before. At Legal Shield, you can actually be selling a $50 a month product, and get to $1,000 with, is it 8 sales or 9 sales? I got to calculate, but it's somewhere between 8 and 9 sales. You can get to $1,000 selling a family plan without recruiting a single person. Where else in network marketing can you sell under 10 people and earn that kind of money? Like, I don't know that it exists inside of direct sales that you can sell that few people and make that kind of money. So that was one of our deciding factors in actually doing this. And I actually have 12, and we'll have to go through that tomorrow. I have 12 reasons why we decided and chose this particular company. We need to go on Facebook Live and do that like open to the public, but on the Going Executive Director show, we should probably also go after this because it's something good to know for those of you who are in the business, working the business, building the business. And just as a disclosure, this particular show is specifically built and based for those people who are already involved in the company. If you're not involved, no problem. We're still going to give you tips and hints and things you can probably use in your own company. But this is not generic. It is specific to what we're doing. And the reason, one of the big reasons why we ended up back here is we were trying to make a decision of where we were going. And I said, I'm tired of building 3 different things. I'm tired of building the system to build. I'm tired of building the events to build and building the company. I said, we're looking for something that the company's there, and has been around and established. they already have a network of events around the country that I can plug people into that I don't have to worry about. And most of the times, if that's the case, the opportunity's gone. But in this case, the opportunity's old enough, and it took forever for this company to get their shit together, is the reality. I mean, it took a while. Now, they were better off than the alternative of not having it, but it took a while for them to get all of the moving parts together and really rocking. And now that they do, and they've increased the money that's here, that's one thing that impressed us and made this an easy choice to start building again. So I appreciate everybody for being on. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up because we've got a couple other things to do. Brandy, anything else?
Nope, I think that's it. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. At noon, we're going to jump on and do the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. So I appreciate you for joining us, and we'll talk to everybody real soon. Thank you.